Hello and welcome to the Best and Worst Pictures podcast. I'm your host, Jake, and with me, as always, my co-host, Ian. Joining us, as per usual, is my other equally as good co-host, Mud.
My name's also Jake.
What is this show, you might ask? It's going to really confuse you, audience. Every so often, we sit down and watch a Best Picture winner, and it's time for one of the best or worst pictures as compared to the other winners. And this week, we're talking about the 42nd Best Picture winner ever, which is, of course, none other than the hit 1969 classic, that's really funny, Midnight Cowboy, the only X-rated winner. And to start us off, Mud has collected some fun facts, which Ian and I have not heard ahead of time. So, Mud, take it away.
Thank you, Jake. So, Midnight Cowboy was released on May 25th, 1969.
Nice.
Ian?
Nice.
It's the day before my birthday and 2 days before Mud's birthday.
It's also Pornhub's birthday.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Not 1969, but May 25th.
Spiritually, yes,
Yep.
though.
It has a runtime of 113 minutes. We're looking at a 7.8 out of 10 IMDb, 89% Rotten Tomato critics, 88% Rotten Tomato audience.
That's nuts.
79 Metacritic score, and an 8.2 Metacritic audience. The Rotten Tomatoes logline leads, John Seisinger's gritty, unrelentingly bleak look at the seedy underbelly of American urban life is undeniably disturbing, but Dustin Hoffman and Jon Voight's performances make it difficult to turn away.
It's cool that we're getting to the films that are still way before our lifetime, but with people we recognize.
Yeah.
I know Dustin Hoffman, and
Jon
I know Jon Voight.
Yeah.
My fun fact is that my dad's name is Dustin. I don't know if it's because of Hoffman or not.
What year was he born?
1969. No, he's probably the 70s, which makes sense, kind of.
So, the director, John Schlesinger, has some other films. My
Yes.
favorite one that I decided to talk about was The Next Best Thing, which was his last film. It was released in 2000. It starred Madonna, and people fucking hate it.
Yep.
Wow.
Now, my actual fun fact about him is this movie, Midnight Cowboy, is about a gay prostitute. Schlesinger himself is gay, and he actually came out while making this film.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Wow,
Yep.
okay.
Now, on to the actors. First off, we have Dustin Hoffman in the leading role. Other films of his include Racing Stripes, Meet the Fockers, Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium, and, of course, Kung Fu Panda.
Yep.
He's in multiple Best Picture winners.
Yeah.
I have plenty of time to talk about his better films, all right?
You're right.
I'm starting with the funny ones. Here's a fun fact for you. He's going to be in Megalopolis, that new Francis Ford Coppola film.
Yes.
Yep. Starring alongside him in the iconic double feature is Jon Voight. Other films of his include Transformers, The Bratz movie, and National Treasure Book of Secrets, all of which came out in 2007.
Wow, we're going to talk about Jon Voight again, aren't we?
Maybe. I don't know.
He's in so many better things than all three of those films.
Yeah, but he's also in Transformers and The Bratz movie. Here's a fun fact. He's also going to be in Megalopolis.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I thought that. I changed the fun fact I was going to say about Dustin Hoffman to make that joke.
That's fair.
And finally, we have Brenda Vaccaro. She wasn't in much else, but she was nominated for Best Supporting Actress in the 1975 film Once Is Not Enough. She was also nominated separately for Grammys, Tonys, and Emmys.
There you go.
Some films that she starred in include Airport 77, Kubo and the Two Strings, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, I've seen some of those.
Let's go over some production facts about this film. It's based on the novel of the same name by James Leo Hurley.
Oh, no.
The composer for the film is John Barry. Do you guys know that name?
I do know John Barry. I know that
Recognizable,
name.
but I don't know from what.
He was the composer on James Bond
Yep.
for several films, and he composed the James Bond theme for Dr.
Yep.
No.
Wow.
The iconic James Bond theme.
Nice.
Harrison Ford auditioned for the role of Joe Buck, Voight's character. Voight actually took a pay cut, the minimum amount permitted by the SAG to work on this film.
Wow.
You
Do
know
we
what?
know what that was?
So we're looking at pictures of the film right now. I can imagine Harrison Ford in that outfit.
Yep.
You just look like Indiana Jones again, though.
Dustin Hoffman's the prostitute, right?
Yes.
Not the actor, but the character. Sorry. keep
Dustin
going.
Hoffman, the man.
Yep. I would hope.
The film was released with an X rating, as you noted, Jake, but it was actually amended to an R rating in 1971.
That makes sense.
Its initial X rating was for homosexual references.
Yep.
You know,
Wait. It was just for homosexual
it
references?
was merely for the fact that there's a gay character. Yeah.
So
Yep.
this whole sorry to interrupt the fun facts, but this whole time building up for 42 episodes of this stupid show, I thought it was the only X-rated one because it had like graphic scenes of like straight up man on man over
Yeah.
and over.
No, there will be.
There will be? Okay.
Let's
so,
go.
That's a homosexual reference.
But it's a visual portrayal, not quite a reference. But
It's
go on.
not.
It's different than like I'm
get
gay
to-
versus
It's not a reference.
porn, like literal porn.
We're not watching literal porn. Moving on. Dustin Hoffman's limp in the film is actually a very interesting practical effect. Hoffman kept a specific collection of stones in his shoe to keep the effect on his walk consistent throughout filming. Hoffman was also so committed to the coughing fit his character's meant to have that at least once while filming, he just fucking vomited.
Oh, wow.
He accidentally made himself vomit. I want to see that outtake.
Yeah, that'd be really funny, actually.
In an interview with Esquire, Voight recalled that on the day production wrapped, director Scheisinger suffered a major anxiety attack, fretting that no one would like the film.
It won Best Picture, John.
Yeah.
You're okay.
Benefit of hindsight, huh?
Yeah, yep.
Sylvia Miles earned an Oscar nomination for her role as a prostitute because many critics found her acting to be so real and compelling. It was so real, in fact, that two actresses, Maureen Stapleton and Julie Harris, went and saw the film. And Maureen turned to Julie at the end and said, "Isn't that amazing? They went and found a hooker and put her in the movie." And Julie said, "That's not a hooker. That's Sylvia Miles."
That's funny.
Oh, wow.
I like that.
Sylvia Miles also said that the nudity in her scenes was not in the script. When they were filming the scene, director Sean Scheisinger told her that it would work better if she was naked. She kept telling him no, but eventually acquiesced to his request/demand.
Great.
Yeah. Building on that, Jennifer Salt, who portrays Andy, recalled that the scene where her character gets assaulted was a traumatic thing to film for her. It took the crew several hours to complete, and because of the heat on set, she had to choose to go without the nude-colored bodysuit that was given to her by the makeup department, meaning she was nude in front of the entire cast and crew through the whole ordeal. She described in interviews in detail how no one seemed to care that she was in genuine discomfort and pain throughout the entire shoot.
Great.
And lastly, something that blew my mind, you guys know the most famous scene from this movie.
I believe I do, yeah.
It's the scene where they cross the street and almost get hit by a taxi cab.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most well-known improvised scenes in a film. They actually almost got hit by a cab. Allegedly, both Hoffman and Voight have said that that scene was completely improvised and that this guy broke onto the set. But the producer, Jerome Hellman, has stated it was not. I think 2 versus 1 and the 2 guys were actually there, whereas we don't know if Hellman was there or not.
Yeah.
I'm going to trust the 2 guys who were actually there. So, moving on to the awards show. John Wayne was dismayed when this film won Best Picture.
Of course he fucking was.
In a statement to Playboy magazine,
Oh my God, John.
"Wouldn't you say that the wonderful love of these 2 men in Midnight Cowboy, a story about 2 fags, qualifies as a perverse film?"
Oh, my God.
I have nothing but disrespect for John Wayne.
Not even unrelated to that quote, he's done some incredibly racist things.
Wait until we get to the one where he tries to beat up that fucking woman.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yep.
Well, that's not even that far from now. It's
not
like
far.
2.
It's like 2 away with Godfather. I'm
two
fucking
away.
jazzed to talk
Oh
about
my
that.
God, it's 2 away. Wow.
Anne of the 1,000 Days started the night with the most nominations at 10. It ended the night with a solitary win in Best Costume Design, going to Margaret Furse.
Good job.
Edith Head was nominated for her film Sweet Charity. Fucking love Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid ended the night with the most wins at 4. Maggie Smith won the Best Actress Award for the night for her role in The Prime of Miss Jen Brody.
Yes, Professor McGonagall.
Yeah, I didn't know she was an Academy Award winner. Z, the Algerian film, won Best Foreign Language. They Shoot Horses, Don't They? Set an Oscar record by receiving 9 nominations without 1 for Best Picture.
Oh.
Wow.
And this was the last time until the 68th Academy Awards wherein none of the 4 winning performances came from a Best Picture nominated film. As well, the first time every acting nomination was in color.
Interesting.
That's cool.
Now, do you know They Shoot Horses, Don't They? It set the record. Has it been broken?
I didn't say on the page that I was reading, but I think so.
Interesting.
Maybe.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, getting 9 nominations and not getting nominated for Best Picture probably would not happen.
So, for awards nominated, Hugh A. Robertson was nominated for Best Film Editing, but lost to Francois Bonot for Z, the Algerian film.
Yep.
Sylvia Miles was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, but lost to Goldie Hawn for her role in Cactus Flower. Other nominees included Catherine Burns for Last Summer, Susanna York for They Shoot Horses, Don't They, and Diane Cannon for Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice.
Terrible name for a film.
John Voight and Dustin Hoffman were both nominated for Best Actor. They lost to John Wayne for True Grit.
Oh my fucking God. You know what though? The original True Grit, it's not bad.
Yeah. Other nominees include Peter O'Toole for Goodbye, Mr. Chips, and Richard Burton for Anne of the 1,000 Days. And finally, awards won. Waldo Salt, no relation to Jennifer from
I was just
from
about to
before.
ask.
As far as I can tell, not related. Took home Best Screenplay based on material from another medium. John Scheisinger took home Best Director. He beat Arthur Penn for Alice's Restaurant, George Roy Hill for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Sidney Pollack for They Shoot Horses, Don't They, and Costa Gavras for Z, the Algerian film. I'm just amazed by how many nominations this film got in 1969. It must
That's
be
true.
really good. And it took home Best Picture, beating Z, Anne of the Thousand Days, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and Hello, Dolly. Other notable films released this year, actually not that many. I found True Grit, The Original Italian Job, Easy Rider, and On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
You're gonna get a lot of the James Bond films
Yeah.
in these.
And finally, our Mary Pickford fact.
No fun award ceremony facts this time?
I already went over those.
Well, I'll give you one extra. It actually is still They Shoot Horses, Don't They, as the most nominations without a Best Picture nomination.
Thank you, Jake.
Got you.
A 1927 USSR film titled A Kiss from Mary Pickford follows a film usher who becomes popular with the ladies after a chance meeting and subsequent titular kiss from the girl with the curls. Pickford is in it as herself in a cameo appearance. And the film, which is nearly an hour long, is available for free on Wikipedia.
Huh. What year was that?
1927.
That makes sense.
There are, I think, you know what's really, really funny? There are a couple films that are available to watch straight off of Wikipedia.
There are several.
I remember the film class that we both have taken.
Yeah.
One of the films that I had to watch, I was like, where the hell can I watch this online for free? Because he didn't have the link for it. It wasn't working for some reason. Found the whole thing on Wikipedia for free.
What's really funny is the copyright thing is 96 years. 2023 is 96 years away from 1927. That makes total sense.
Time to remake A Kiss from Mary Pickford. By
Let's
the way, I
go.
scrubbed through it. There's no fucking title cards for like the words.
Oh,
it's,
Ian's
it's
favorite
completely no. It's completely silent. There's no dialogue.
Ian's least favorite film.
I don't know what's going on.
Where is anything?
What's happening?
Oh my
And
goodness.
I just want to point out, and we'll get more into the hype of this after the big talk, but this is the end of the 60s. We're
Yeah.
finally moving on to the next decade. This is exciting territory.
1970s.
I know.
We're 40 years in.
We're finally about to get the real film.
20% of the 70s Best Picture winners are The Godfather. We're going to catch you guys after Midnight Cowboy. So we just watched Midnight Cowboy. How do we feel?
more like mid.
Got him.
I'm the one who jokingly said more like mid cowboy. I'm leaning a little more positive than you guys, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. It's not a boring film.
No, it's actually really interesting.
I'm going to say something, and I wonder if you guys are going to agree or not. This is a real mixed bag.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. The acting's good.
Fantastic.
The themes are good, but I think we all agree with. I'm gonna try to kind of tent pole what the entire negative discussion is gonna be. Nothing fucking happens.
It's a 2-hour-long movie, and a lot of it is just John Voight kind of fucking up, and then Rico being sick, and then John Voight's a little successful, and then Rico's like, I'm dying, Joe. I gotta go to Florida. And then they go to Florida, and then he dies.
Have either of you seen Good Time?
No.
I thought a lot about Good Time while watching this movie.
That's
so
the one with Robert Pattinson.
Right. For the
Yeah.
audience who's listening who I guess has seen Good Time, that movie is this movie but great. And
Is
it
he also a gay prostitute in that one?
No. It's
He's not even a
these
gay
two
prostitute
people
in
and
this
one's got this issue. It's very similar, but basically the difference is that movie is very focused and just nails the point it's getting across. And the ending is like perfect. Whereas this very much meanders, much to Mud's point. It doesn't really go anywhere or do much. The ending is powerful, though. I do like the ending a lot. But the slog to get there...
It's 2 hours. This could have been 40, 50 minutes of film.
Could have been. Although, to talk about editing, the editing is awesome.
Oh my god, it's great.
Best
I
editing.
love the stylistic choices that they make. The montage of like the TV changing channels and stuff like
That's
that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of nice quick cuts during like the more action quote heavy scenes.
Yeah.
I liked Joe's weird nightmares. I wish
Yes.
they got.
I wish they
resolved.
went anywhere.
Yeah, because Jake, you brought up a good point while they were happening. You were like, "Is this supposed to be metaphorical? What part of this is literal?"
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is there is no answer.
Yep.
It's implied that Joe Buck, John Voight's character, had a relationship with a woman named Annie, who's known as Crazy Annie.
Sure.
And he seems to have left town to deal with the results of that. He wasn't exactly run out of town because, like, people, he's still got a job by the time he leaves.
Mm-hmm.
But something happened.
I'm going to say that they got, just trigger warning, they got raped by a bunch of cowboys in a car.
That's what I think
That's
happened.
what I
That's
think happened.
what
There's
the
no-
movie infers.
Strongly implies.
Yeah.
Nothing explicit. And it doesn't, after a while, it just kind of stops coming up.
Yeah.
Which is weird because during the last fuck, he fucks 3 times during this movie. That's important.
Yeah.
During the last, like, prostitution, the woman says stuff similar to Annie's, like, motifs.
Sure.
Like, you're so good, Joe. You're the only one, Joe. Like, and he doesn't seem triggered by it. Like, before, he has, like, these, like, freak out moments. Like, when he's praying with O'Daniel,
Yeah.
he, like, freaks out because he's, like, having a fucking episode.
Yep.
But I don't know. I'd have to rewatch that exact scene. But what she says sounds similar.
It is.
If not the exact same to things that
it's
Annie
not
said,
exactly
but he
the
seems
same, but it is similar.
completely
You're fully right.
unfazed by it.
Yeah.
It's very strange because had they referenced in a large way those dream sequence / flashbacks / hallucinations or whatever they were later on in the film, they would have served more of a purpose. As
Yeah.
it stands, they're completely useless. Maybe not completely for his character, sure, but like for the story, it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't make clear the point where he gets over it,
Yeah.
or at least comes to terms with it, or anything. Like, I think that's the point, is that he's like overcoming it by hanging out with Rico.
And it's strange because I do think the main character is fun to follow. He's funny.
Yeah.
He's somewhat immoral, but at the end of the day, pretty moral and gullible. And there's just a nice side to him. He's a fun character.
Stupid.
He's very
He's
dumb.
moral. He beats that man to death.
Yeah, but he
I don't
also
know.
very easily feels bad for people.
He also says, "Please get out of the way," before he punches that guy in the face.
Yeah, so
Please
he's
don't
a
hold
mix,
on to the
you know.
drawer.
He's got a lot going on. He's complex.
He's
I
a
like that.
complicated.
He is a
character.
complicated character for sure.
I find it very. I find it very endearing how stupid he is.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
He's a grade A idiot.
Like, just beyond stupid, just insanely dumb. Like the way he like tells Rico, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a hustler," meaning prostitute, and he's like, Rico's like, "Well, how the fuck am I supposed to know that?"
Yeah.
Yep.
Money. It says so on the sign.
M-O-
MONY.
I think that was supposed to be like a funny joke that like kind of letting you know subtly that like he actually doesn't know how to read or write.
He definitely does not know anything.
I'm glad that he was brought up because Dustin Hoffman steals every scene he's in.
Yeah.
If either of them were going to win Best Actor, which they're both nominated for, good. They're basically co-leads.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Dustin Hoffman, I think, deserves a little more. He is incredible. His accent is fucking hilarious. For
Yeah.
one, that's the like stereotypical New York accent that people like make fun of.
Yeah, come on, buddy. Give me
What are you
$5.
doing? Give me
It's
10.
nasally too.
Yeah.
I see why they call him Ratso, because his voice is very like. That's how I describe a rat.
They
sounding.
invented "I'm walking here."
I'm walking in.
That was a
They
big deal.
did.
It's in the
Of
movie.
all-
It's very early in the movie.
Good.
Of all the movies for that to come from, Midnight Cowboy.
Yes.
It's
Strange.
funny, like you think about it. That's the scene.
That is the scene.
I would
the
figure,
scene.
with how legendary that quote is, I figured it'd be like a Casablanca, Gone with the Wind level quote. But it's literally just Midnight Cowboy, the movie that nobody's ever heard
And
of
it's
or
like
cares about.
30 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, it's so irrelevant, and I mean, like in terms of general plot, it's not like a big moment.
I mean,
Right.
there's not a lot of moments that really.
Well,
serve
also,
That's,
like-
that's also
plot.
the thing is like when I was like doing like the fun facts and the research for this movie, I was thinking like, oh man, I really only know the "I'm walking here" scene.
Yeah.
And I think I know why now.
That and the scene of him walking really like jauntily and proudly through the crowd when he first gets there.
Yeah.
Are the two scenes I've seen
it's
from
like-
this film.
2 shots.
So,
Yeah.
about 2/3 into the movie, I wrote a note that says, "This is one of the most interesting movies that doesn't have a coherent story." Now, I don't know if I agree with that.
It's a good character piece.
It is.
So can
It
I
is.
bring up one of my main problem with the ending? Speaking of character piece,
Sure.
at the end of the film, Rico dies. He's been sick for most of the movie. He's
Yeah.
refused to get help, and he dies on his way to Florida before he can achieve his dream.
Yep.
And that's like really tragic and sad. And it's nice because Joe was just starting to hit his stride as a prostitute, and he gives up everything so that Rico can achieve his dream right before the end.
Yep.
I didn't really like that because he just gets sick. Like there's no cause.
I mean,
for
he's
it.
been sick.
He's been sick most of the movie, but I'm just saying, like, he just says like, oh, I came down with this cold, and he starts like coughing, and it just feels like
I think it's what he had, but it's progressively.
I know it's
worse.
been progressing,
Yeah.
but I think what bothers me is he just says he just caught it. I think I would have preferred if he had it the entire time, or if something more directly had happened to cause him to get sick.
Yep.
I've been falling down a lot.
Maybe he did a certain hustle or scheme that caused him to like cut his arm, it gets infected, blah blah blah. Like that would be an indirect repercussion of him living that lifestyle. That could tie in thematically that way.
Or like something else where like he has to like,
Or the fact that they were living in a place with no heat in the freezing fucking New York
Maybe
winter.
that was relevant, but the movie didn't make it clear that that was important at all.
well, I think the movie makes it clear that like he gets sicker over the winter.
Sure.
But like also to more Ian's point, like he could have gotten sick by like he had to stay somewhere to help Joe in like the cold, and then he caught something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like something happens to like more directly trigger it than in between scenes he catches a cold.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do like how, and I think it was mentioned as a joke briefly, but at the end, all the old white ladies are on the bus, exactly like Rico's dream. He ironically achieved it before death.
Rico, to elaborate, Rico has like a daydream sequence where he imagines his life in Florida, and he's just surrounded by old white women.
Yeah.
Like old white women.
Look, if you're dreaming of Florida, that's what you get.
This man's
know.
dreaming of bingo.
I just think it's really funny because it's like, you know, this film it's a little sexually charged. So you're left to interpret what you're left to interpret, especially because he's telling Joe about all the women that flood Florida beaches.
And they're just all old women.
And they're all old women.
Mm-hmm. I really do like how when he did, we're obviously in spoilers because we've been talking in spoilers all the time, but when he did die on the bus, the bus driver is more or less unfazed. That implies that happens all the fucking time
Dude,
on the
he drives
way to...
he drives people to Florida.
Yeah.
A non-zero amount of people have died on his bus before.
I'm willing to bet,
For
like
sure.
once per trip, one of the old ladies kicks the bucket on the way to
There's
Florida.
that one old lady just staring at him like that could have been me.
Should have been me.
Should have been me.
But I'm sure the Florida bus driver, if he was surprised, I'd be like, that's unrealistic. It's the Florida bus.
That's true. Even 54 years ago or whatever the fuck this film takes place.
Florida has always been Florida.
Florida is Florida.
Since the year of our Lord, 1776.
Good
Listen,
Lord.
plot-wise, I don't know if there's much of like
A story.
a story.
There kinda isn't.
However, looking at it from a character piece, which is what I think it is, it's really fucking good.
It is.
I'm just gonna say, like, if you look at this film not as a narrative piece about what's happening, but as a character interaction and I guess a study of what it's like to try to achieve your big dream in a new place, like, it's fantastic. It really is.
It just makes very weird decisions to get there. Like, for
Yeah.
example, when he's in the movie theater watching the movie while getting blown by a dude, he's clearly uncomfortable. With the film's dialogue not
It's so
being
good.
on the nose, but suggesting it, like,
Yeah.
oh, he's docking, I'm going to eject or something.
They're watching like a sci-fi movie.
You're barred
There's
from
a,
lift
There's
off.
a lot of ejaculation metaphors.
But,
Yeah.
like, it's all played straight, which is super hilarious.
And then it cuts to the bathroom and the kid's throwing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is amazing. But, yeah, no, I like I wish the movie was full of more of that. I wanted more scenes like that where it was like double, triple entendre almost with what it meant.
I think the movie kind of leaves a lot on the table.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that come up and just kind of go away.
Yeah, like the visions and nightmare sequences and stuff.
The religious thing is something that I think is something that really speaks to just how this film just kind of comes up with stuff and then leaves it. Like, so Joe Buck meets this guy who's going to pimp him out, and then he's like, let's get on our knees and pray. He's a very intense man.
Yeah, very intense.
And
man.
Joe starts like freaking out, and like we have like flashbacks to like his like communion, baptism. I don't know. They
Baptism.
They dunk him in a lake. He's like 12, and Joe gets so freaked out that he takes off. Right, and he doesn't end up getting pimped out by this guy. They never bring it back up.
Yep.
Not once do they ever talk about it, and there's no clear explanation with the Crazy Annie thing. You can strongly imply what happened to her and Joe. It's not very explicitly said, but there's enough visually there that you kind of get what happened.
There's that really weird scene at the beginning where he's like he looks through the window of what used to be a massage parlor and sees himself as a child giving her a massage.
Giving
I
like
think,
his grandma a
and it's like
massage.
really fucking weird.
I wish that was a little deeper expanded on.
I think what the film is trying to imply is that Joe got molested by his grandmother.
Sure, but
I'm
again,
not 100% sure.
here's the thing: even if you give that movie that and you say that that's what's happening,
It doesn't add anything.
Yeah, cut it out. Nothing changes. Not one thing changes.
Because he already has. If you want to have a traumatic event in his life that motivates him to do this, you have the Crazy Annie thing.
You do. That's
which is
the
already
crux.
more clear.
There's not even like a scene later on where he's like, "Oh, when I was a kid, my grandmother," blah, blah. Like referencing that earlier, or maybe he learns from it.
For as close as him and Rico get, they never really open up to one another.
Or maybe he meets his grandmother later. I don't know.
No,
Like
she's
something.
dead.
Yeah, some way to like carry that arc to fruition to make it have a purpose.
The only thing that I could feel that like contributes is there is a lot of, if you were traumatized that way as a child, that can continue
as an
adult.
Yeah.
Which could be why he is a quote hustler.
But
it could contribute to that, but it doesn't explicitly do that in a way where I feel that way.
yeah,
Like
no,
it's not an intended mechanic.
it makes it unclear. But even if it were clear, I don't know if it really serves a purpose anyway. Because like we already get that sense about him regardless. Because they introduce the character awesomely in that scene where he screws him over with the priest guy. Bro, that was hilarious. So they already effectively told me who this character is and how these two operate. And then when they become business partners or whatever. Which, by the way, this is my last big note. They weren't gay.
There's not a lot of gay in this film.
At best, Joe Buck might be bi. That's
He didn't like it.
That's it. Well, he got.
I mean, would you like getting blown by Woody Allen?
No.
The guy looked like Woody
he
Allen.
did. If you watch the movie, you know what we're talking about. But
no, I know what you mean. I'm also a little disappointed. I thought this film would be more gay.
Rico, 0% gay, 100% straight, as far as we can tell. Joe Buck, up to 50% gay.
Willing to
Maybe.
willing to suck dick for $20.
That is less than 25% gay among the two of them. That is piss poor numbers in terms of
for
gay.
a rated X film.
Yeah.
I know it's 1969 and people were like John Wayne and thought the film was perverse, but
John Wayne called them.
John
John Wayne didn't even fucking see the movie.
I'm disappointed beyond belief.
Bro.
All right, I've seen Blue is the Warmest Color. I have seen a gay film.
If you're homophobic because, you think they're gay, bro, you haven't seen it. They're not.
They're not gay.
They're not gay at all.
The cowboy stuff's for slur. John Wayne, you think he's gay?
They openly bring up John Wayne. And like, do you think he's gay? They bring up, what's his name? Marianne Robert Wayne or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking using the government name because I don't respect him. Fucking
terrible.
Cannot believe I feel let down.
Marion Robert Morrison.
Thank you. Marion Robert Morrison. They bring up Marion Robert Morrison in this
posters
film
of him
as an example of like cowboys being for straight dudes because fucking Rico thinks that cowboys are gay prostitutes.
Sure.
Now, to be fair, back in the day,
No,
you saw all the guys
you've
on
seen the
on
Y-
42nd
I mean,
Street and stuff.
you've
You've
seen
seen
the
the YMCA music videos. What are you going to tell me? Is that what you're going to fucking tell me?
Hey, don't
Yes.
make my fucking comments for me, Ian.
He does it to me
You've
all
seen
the
the
fucking time.
YMCA video,
Bro.
But I don't know. For a rated X film, I'm
Expected more. Yeah.
especially because the initial pitch that I heard from somebody was, "Hey, what's Midnight Cowboy about?" Oh, it's about a guy who goes to New York to be a gay prostitute. And I was like,
He goes to be a straight prostitute and ends
Yeah.
up having to do some gay shit.
so I'm like, damn, he had way more straight sex than I wanted him to.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think it fails on every level. In fact, it's quite good.
No, it's a good example of a competent film that, in terms of a traditional film, isn't exactly what you'd expect.
For me, one of the only marks that's really missing is that plot, like the story. Where does it go? That's it. Like, where does it go? Why it's happening, I do actually understand from the character's perspective of their relationship, the themes that it's trying to explore. I understand where it's going from there.
There's no conflict.
The only conflict is him trying to survive. And I guess, like, you could argue that the conflict is he was trying to go to a new place because he thought he was going to make a lot of money there and ended up going horribly wrong. And it was him versus himself of who he wanted to be there versus who he has to be there. I'm picking up what the movie's putting down.
It's just
I wish
it's not explicitly said.
I wish the plot around this character piece was just a little bit stronger, because this movie would be excellent if it was. The movie is, as a film, it's pretty good. You know, it's solid, but as a character piece, it's fantastic. Because I love the interaction of these two guys. I like the themes that it's exploring. I like the breaking down of both of them have their own dreams. One of them is a little bit further along in their life because he dies. And one of them is trying to just start out in this new place. You see what this place does to you. You see how it goes. You see Rico doesn't want to end up like his dad, a dumb idiot shining shoes, but he's stealing and trying his hardest to get out of there, and it just didn't happen.
Oh, that's
like,
a really...
I'm understanding what both of these characters' motivations are, and I like both of these characters so much. It just doesn't have the story narrative to tie it all together in a nice bow and make me go,
It doesn't justify its runtime.
No.
You could get away with this quote story if you shaved off like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Like, I think I'd be less upset with the fact that nothing happened if this film was like an hour 20, hour 30, and not 2 hours long. Because then you start to notice that nothing's happening.
Yep.
You know, like, we were talking, and like when we did our first time check, we were over halfway done.
We were.
All
it was
of us
like an
just
hour.
kind of looked at each other, and we were like,
huh?
Nothing's fucking happened yet.
You know what this
Nothing
movie...
is, like, we thought we were still in Act 1.
You know what this movie reminds me of, pacing and character-wise, but lacking in the story-wise? Another way more gay film, Call Me By Your Name.
Never seen it.
The characters in that film are fantastic. Doesn't fucking go anywhere.
I like that movie better than this one, though. I think, if I had to rate them. Which, by the way,
Well, solid.
if we could potentially get there, I am very mixed. I might give a different answer on a different day, but if you ask me now, 5. I feel so neutral about it. I don't hate it. I don't dislike it, but like I have no reason to revisit this for any reason.
I have 2 more major notes. 1, this movie's really fucking funny.
It is.
This
so
movie is
fucking funny.
funny. Comedy gold. If you want to watch this, you are going to have a good time simply because it's just hilarious. It's shockingly funny for like the dark themes and source that it's going for. And 2, there's a lot of slurs in this movie. Like, just a lot of slurs.
For a film that was pitched as being like a gay movie to me, there's
No.
a lot of homophobic language.
Yeah.
No, I think we all went in on the impression it's like a gay movie, and it's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
I thought it didn't start gay. I was like, oh, he's gonna eventually become a male prostitute.
Maybe they're gonna become a thing.
And then he's gonna realize he likes, and no, that never happened.
Nope.
He prostitutes himself out 3 times, which is actually a really good use of the rule of 3s,
Yep.
because the first time he does it, he loses money because the woman swindles him. The second time he does it, he doesn't get any money from it, but he doesn't lose anything. That's the only gay sex in the film. He gets blown in a movie theater,
And he's clearly uncomfortable visually from his face.
which also he's receiving. Like, I don't know. I'm just like, come on, man. At least be. Or no, he's receiving, but like not in the right way. I'm like, come on, like be a gay little prostitute. Bend over, spread your cheek. Come on.
Yep, just like you do.
This is what I paid for.
Are you paying to give someone else head?
That's what that guy.
That's-
technically he didn't pay.
I didn't bring that up because I don't know if I missed something, but did he expect to get paid to get blown by a guy?
Yeah.
Does
I mean,
that
look-
guy want to
look-
blow a guy so bad that he needs to pay someone to do it?
Hey, dude, people do what they like.
Yeah, but
You know?
people love getting blown, so I'm surprised he needed to pay money to do it.
Some people are bottoms, bro.
I guess.
Fair.
But most people like getting blown.
Some people like to blow.
Jake, I think a 5 out of 10 might be a little low. I'm giving this one a 7 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
I like this movie.
All right.
I think it's funny. It's worth the watch. It does have a little bit of a runtime, but it might not warrant its runtime. Doesn't fucking drag.
So-
Not a second of drag.
I've got just a few final thoughts here. My first is Joe is an absolute douchebag on that bus playing his fucking radio up to his ear like he's one of those fucking people who takes a call on fucking speakerphone
You're right.
in a public setting. What else do I have? I just wrote buck horny. Oh, there's a motif about loneliness.
Yes.
Both of these guys are lonely.
I think when they squat together and have their quote-unquote business relationship, which is just business relationship without quotes around it because
Yeah.
it's not a relationship. But when they do
It's
that,
also not a business.
it's also
They
pretty
suck.
clear, even if they don't admit it, that they do want and need each other to
Yeah.
some extent.
Yeah.
And that's
You
about
can
it.
see that in the
They're
fact that he
friends.
gives up his whole dream just to get him to Florida,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is really nice, and that's
why-
part of the character thing I
That's
really
why,
like.
yeah, he's a morally complex guy. Like, he really does care about him. Like, I don't know. There's merit here.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's enough. But, like,
No, I
still.
get what you mean. Rico mentioned that his father had a bad cough from working as a shoe shiner all day. And what does Rico have?
A bad cough.
Yep. I think that's a really good, like, character moment for him. Oh, down bad Joe Buck. Joe Buck is so fucking horny. And it's funny because, like, at the beginning, you don't even realize that he's you don't even realize he's a prostitute. You think he's just trying to score with all the chicks.
That's true.
Yeah.
He does seem like more of a womanizer than a prostitute at the beginning of the movie, but then you see.
I'm going to split you guys a score, and I'm going to say 6 out of 10.
That's
Okay.
understandable.
I agree with you, Ian. I think there's enough here. But I also agree with you, Jake, where I don't know if I would ever revisit this film.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have the patience to rewatch it.
If I am going
It didn't drag.
If I am going to, it's because of Dustin Hoffman's
I
performance.
think the last 30 minutes dragged. Once we like realized there was 30 minutes left, I was like, where's this going?
There's not enough time to wrap it all up.
And it's not even like, so like a lot actually happens in the last 30 minutes. Like he has his third and final prostitution, bringing back the rule of threes conversation, where he finally gets paid for being a prostitute.
Yep.
Took him all fucking movie.
He broke even.
He broke even. And he starts setting up new clients, and then he meets this guy, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna be he's a bisexual prostitute. He's gonna fuck the dudes and the chicks, right? And then he fucking robs that guy. Might have killed him, you know. He was also a religious man. The guy who Buck kills at the end of the film,
Yep.
who like seems ashamed of the fact that he's gay.
You can point out
His
themes
religion.
like, hey, being gay versus being religious, blah, blah, blah.
But like,
Yeah.
more to my point, that almost brings Joe's religious thing back, but then it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets a cross necklace, and that doesn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, even in the last like 10 minutes, they're establishing shit.
Yeah.
So it's better than the sum of its parts, is
Yep.
the way I would describe it.
We are ending this entire decade on a mid. Like, Cowboy.
Positive. Ridge on the Require still the best one. GG still the worst one.